Welcome back, Jgirlbyooty FamBam. Because I'm a mother to a transgender son slash lesbian, bisexual, transitioned into a female now. I did this makeup look today with Makeup Venti Beauty products. That will be probably up before this video goes up. But I wanted to come and address this because I know me and my daughter do a lot of videos on my channel, and we do a lot of videos with her and her wife. And a lot of people have watched our videos and have commented and have told me like, you guys have a wonderful relationship. And that's why I wanted to get on camera and talk about it, because I do have some more story times about that too as well. And but we're not going to talk about that in this video. We're going to just talk about being a mother to a transgender female to transition to a male. And I tried to talk about this on my live video the other day, and I got so nervous and I was sweating because I have social anxiety. I hate to present anything in front of the class, read in front of the class, or answer questions in front of a lot of people. I have a hard time talking to a big crowd, whether it's a project or anything. I hate it. So I support Paul and Jen on Facebook, and they also are on Instagram as Pablo MUE and Miss Bronzed Beauty, I believe that's her name. And then there's another guy that has been commenting on my pictures, and I comment back on his. His name is Plastic Glow XO, I believe. And I told him to rock himself out and do what he needs to do and love himself no matter what. So my daughter was born a female when I had her at the age of 15 years old. I mean, I was pregnant at 15 years old, had her at 16 years old. And as we were growing up and as she got older, I started to notice, well, she was really girly when she was a baby and when she was like 4 years old, and she was really like, she couldn't get dirty. It was like, dirty, dirty, clean me, you know? And I never really noticed anything really much. We always played with Barbies. We always played with the Bratz dolls. But when she got a little bit older, I think maybe elementary, 5th grade, around there, or in middle school, I started to see that she really didn't want to wear makeup. She really didn't want to play too much with doll toys. She wanted to like play army stuff and be like playing army things, and she kind of wanted to dress like a boy, you know, like a tomboy. And she really didn't want me to comb her hair much, and she would come home at times and she would be with her hair down. And I started to notice that she kind of wanted to be like a boy, like a male. And she was like a tomboy. So I was a tomboy. I grew up as a tomboy. So I thought maybe she was just a tomboy. And she watched that movie called, there was this girl that was on the channel, and she put on she taped her boobs. And so anyways, besides my point, that's what my daughter started doing, wearing binders as well. So I grew up back in the 1880s, 1990s, where family that didn't allow that. Like back in the days, you don't talk about that. If you are a lesbian, if you are trans or anything, you just don't come out and you don't talk about it, and you're very quiet about your sexuality. And so my sister was transgender, but she was born a female, and she wanted to be like a boy. So she dressed like a boy, she acted like a boy, she hung out with the boys. And I used to always get crap for that. We used to go to school together because she's a year older than me, and they would always ask me, does your sister pee standing up or does she pee sitting down? They were really ugly and really cruel in this world. I talk about a lot of my story times about that too, like where she was dating girls and they would want to fight her, the guys, and I would have to be there to defend her because sometimes she would get so drunk and wouldn't be able to fight. So I would have to fight the guys and they would get all mad and they would be like, are you going to hit me like a dude? I'm going to hit you like a dude. And I would be like, well, do what you got to do, you know? So I had a hard time struggling with that. So when my daughter wanted to be a male, I struggled with it. And me and my daughter didn't talk for like 4 years when she was transitioning into being a male. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to accept it because I didn't want my daughter's son to go through what my sister had to go through and what I got to go through and what I had to hear and the stuff that my sister had to hear while she was growing up. So I really didn't want my daughter to do that. I thought, that you are what God made you, like a female. And no one really could in the family. They wanted her to be that little girl that she was born to be. But she didn't want to. She chose to be someone else. That she felt that she needed to be. So, you go to these Christian churches. You go to all these Christian churches that I grew up in, and that's why a lot of people couldn't understand it, because they say that, God hates all those people, and that you can't be like that because God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And I'm sorry that I'm getting into all this deep, but I feel like if I leave it out, then I can't tell my story if I leave these things out, these details out, and I have to share them because this was a part of my thinking and why I pushed my daughter away at the time. So, a lot of people were saying in the church, like, you can't accept that, and I'm like, well, she wants to be a boy. She changed her name, she's transitioning, and she wants to be that male, and that she feels like she can be. And I'm like, that's my daughter, that's my son. But they were like, no, you can't. They were like, no, you can't accept it. You can't let her be a part of your life, because if you're accepting that kind of attitude and you're accepting your son to come over, or daughter, whatever they would say, and she brings her mate, you can't welcome that in your house. And so many Christians told me this, and they kept on telling me this and kept on telling me this. Then I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Like, I guess I can't. And so I had the biggest hard time to accept it. So one day, there's more to the story too, but one day she was just like, I can't, I'm moving out. And she packed her bags and she moved in with her other families, her dad's side of the family. And I didn't talk to her, and we didn't talk to each other for 4 years. And it killed me inside. Every day. It killed me inside every day because I wanted my daughter back in my life. I wanted her to talk to me, and I wanted my daughter to talk to me. And I even told her, whatever you want to do, we could go to counseling. We could go to counseling together. And she was like, no. And then that was it. I never heard from her again. I never heard from her again. I never got a phone call from her. Never got a text. nothing. I never really was a crier until now. It's awful. I cry too much now. Well, not all kinds, like I'm a baby cry, but I cry. And I never used to. So anyways, I didn't talk to her or anything. I didn't know how she was living life, but my twin boys were upset because their sister, you know, left them and walked out on them, and they lost their dad, and now they lost their sister. So they were so hurt and they were so heartbroken. They would always tell me, you don't know how bad my whole heart has a hole in it. And so then I really didn't know much about what was going on with her, what she was doing, but I know that she was going to St. Pius at the time, and she had cut her hair short. And I think I was talking to her uncle, or yeah, her uncle at the time. We stood close, you know, we still talked here and there. We were really close when she was growing up. And he had told me that she was transitioning into a male, and that she had went to court and she was getting all the paperwork done, and she was going to be a male, and she was transitioning and she was changing her name. And I cried. This day I cried so hard. This day I cried so hard because I knew it was really happening. My daughter was gonna be a boy. And I cried so hard, but before this, I was already feeling like I didn't want to listen to anybody anymore. I didn't want to listen to anybody anymore. I didn't want to listen to them anymore. I wanted to do what I felt in my heart that was right. I didn't want to listen to anybody anymore. I wanted to do what I felt was right, and what my heart said. And I said, you know, that's your child. You had him. You went through labor for them. You carried them for 9 months in your stomach. And you went through pain to have them and bring them into this world. Like, how can you not accept them? No matter what, they're your kids, you know? You gotta love them. So I was just like done. I didn't want to hear anybody say whatever. If they had their opinions, say your opinions. If you have something to say, say them. But deep down in my heart, I was going to do what I felt was right. And what I felt was right is I was going to love my son. No matter what he wanted to do in his life. If this is what he wanted to do and transition into a male, I was going to stick beside him and be there for him. And that's what I did. I don't know exactly where I left off. I'm trying to remember. I just ate some dinner. My husband just made me some. I was starving, so I just ate din. So now, so where I was, I think, is that I stopped listening to everybody. I didn't want to hear anybody's opinion or what anybody had to tell me. I just wanted to do what I felt was right and what was in my heart. And what was in my heart is I had my daughter. And if my daughter chose to be transgender and be a male, I was going to be there for him and support him no matter what and love him no matter what. While I was in the process of that, I was watching a movie, and it was a movie with, I don't know what it's called either. Oh my gosh, I tell you, my brain sucks. There was a movie called David, I believe. David. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was called David. I think the parents were Christians, and he was a Christian too because he grew up in that family. And he told them that he liked, how do I say it? He liked other men. And so he told his family, and his family couldn't deal with it. So they like disowned him. And he ended up committing suicide. And when I used to read those, watch that movie, and I would read a lot of stuff where a lot of kids have done that and taken their life, I just kept thinking about my son and hoping that my son wouldn't do anything crazy. First, I didn't know how to deal with it, so I really didn't text him so much, but sometimes I would shoot him a text every now and then to let him know that I loved him, no matter what. I never responded, but I would do it anyways. He started making videos on YouTube, and his stepdad, my ex-husband, showed him how to do videos on YouTube. So videos of singing and rapping and doing poetry. My son is very talented. He graduated with I think 4.0 GPA. Very smart kid. Went to St. Pius. And so anyways, what I was saying, he started making videos and he did poetry and he was rapping and he was talking about a lot of stuff that was going on in his life. And there was the song that called me a bitch in the video, and my sons would listen to it and they were like, she's calling you a bitch and stuff. And I listened to it and I was like, yeah, but I have one thing to say, that my son has never disrespected me to my face or talked like that to me. He has a lot of respect for me. He was a pretty good kid growing up. He really didn't get in trouble much. He listened when you talked to him. All you had to do was talk to him and he listened right away. And they were hurtful songs, but I knew my son had to go through what he had to go through and express and let everything out that was inside out, because I was an ugly person. And like I said, it wasn't just because he was transitioning and wanting to be a male. There's more to the story, and that's why I'm trying to share all this. So when I talk about my story time, you guys will understand a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing on my channel. So anyways, besides that, and before I got to start talking to my son was going to graduate St. Pius his senior year, and I wanted to be there for his graduation, and I still didn't get a call back from him. I still didn't get a message or anything, but I got Social Security for all 3 of my kids. So I got income for me and all 3 of my kids. It wasn't much, but they got a little bit of earnings. So my son was living with his family members. I would send his check over to him at first I didn't, because I was so hurt with him that I didn't want to send it. I was like, well, if he doesn't want to have nothing to do with me and he just moved out and he didn't want to have anything to do with me or work on our relationship, I was being selfish. I didn't send it to him. And then I had to realize and think that I needed to send it to him because he needed it for whatever he needed it for. And like I said, it wasn't much. So I still sent it until he turned 18. Then they stop giving you money when your kids turn 18. And they don't give you any more income. So after that, I stopped giving it because I didn't receive it anymore. And I would have to send it to his grandmother. Grandmother would come and pick it up for him. And so I told his uncle that I wanted to be there for his graduation, and and how does he feel? And we would talk, and I would say, has he mentioned anything to you about me? And he would say, no, not really. I know he's really hurt with you, but I think that just give it time, he'll talk to you. Well, so a little bit before he graduated, me and my husband that I am with now bought him a car for his graduation, and this killed me that day. My husband was there with me, and we were at my family members, and he had came to pick up his car. We bought him a convertible PT Cruiser, and he came to come and get it. And we were at our family member's house, and I couldn't go outside. And I kind of asked, like, would it be okay if I came outside? And he said no. So I couldn't see his reaction or how he felt about receiving a car. So I asked my husband to record it, and I think my husband recorded it, or he didn't. I don't remember. It's been a long time ago. And so my son got his car, and I didn't get to see him or anything. So I cried inside the house a little bit, and then I was like, well, you know, it is what it is. At least I was able to purchase him a vehicle, you know. And so a little bit before he was going to graduate, we started talking. After, it was like a little bit after he received his car, and we started talking, and he was about to graduate St. Pius, and they did not want him to graduate and wear a black robe because the birth certificate didn't say he was a male. So he didn't walk the line, and he was like, well, if I don't get to walk in my black robe, then I'm not gonna walk the line and get a diploma. So we were talking at this time, so I was able to go to the graduation ceremony, and then after that we ended up going to dinner with all the family, even his dad and stuff. And that's how we slowly started talking again. And they didn't let him walk the line and wear a black robe. So he was on the news, and he was sharing his story on the news, and on the news to see if he would, I mean, if they would change their mind and let him walk the line. Everybody was trying to like fight for him. Well, they still said no. So he wasn't going to walk the line, and that was fine. Me and his dad was fine with it, and we were going to support our kid no matter what. So he didn't walk the line, and he didn't get his diploma there. So the LBGT community threw him a graduation party at UNM, I believe. And we were on the newspaper. And we were on the newspaper, and they still didn't let him walk the line. So like I said, the LBGT community ended up throwing him a graduation party and ceremony and gave him a diploma. I think, I don't know, if it was a diploma or what, but he ended up getting something from that at UNM, and I was able to share that moment with him, which was so awesome because I hadn't talked to him in 4 years. So after that, he changed St. Pius High School. Now they let transgender people walk the line in black robes, no matter if the birth certificate says that or not, which is really awesome. My son made a difference. A lot of people were outside cheering him on and helping him outside with post sticks and all that, and I couldn't be there to share that moment because I was on the way to Georgia at the time. I was going on a vacation. So after that, that's when we started being close again, and we have the most amazing relationship ever. We didn't have that when he was young or while he was transitioning into being a male. Like I said, it was really hard. I struggled with it, so we didn't have a good relationship. Now we have the best relationship ever. My son will come to me, like, I don't push my son to tell me things though. He'll tell me when he's good and ready to tell me things, and when he wants to share things with me. We're really close. When we don't see each other, we miss each other. So yeah, I just want to tell everybody, like, it's hard, but love on your kids, because there's a lot of ugly people out here in this world. So that's why I support Paul and Jen on Facebook, and on Instagram, and I bought the Foxy Bay blow dryer from them because of them, because I love to support them, because I'm a mother of a transgender son. But I'm just amazed that Nikki Tutorials came out today and what she was talking about and what she stands for, and that's what kind of happened to my son. Is they were trying to blackmail him when we were going to cosmetology school. My son was going to become a barber there, and no one knew that he was born a female. Everybody thought that my son was a male. He is a very handsome male, let me tell you. A very beautiful girl and a very handsome son. And no one really could tell. He was taking testosterone, so he really had a deep voice, and he grew facial hair. And he used to tell me all the time, Mom, let me have your beard, because I used to grow a really bad beard. I talk about it on my channel. Like I said, with all that laser facial hair removal, it's gone away a lot. Like, I still have a little bit of hair here, or I'll have a little bit of hair here, but not as much as I used to have. That stuff works if you continue to go and get it done. And so he would I always tell me, give me your beard, Mom. You have a thick, hairy face, you know? And I was like, shoot, have it. I don't like it. I don't want it. So anyways, no one knew. And then there was this one girl that started going to school that had knew him when she was going to school with him. So she knew that he was transitioning. She said anything about it. But because she said it wasn't her place to say anything, my son started dating this girl that went to school with us. And, you know, like Nikki Tutorial said, you know, you have to tell certain people that, especially that you date, that, you know, you're transitioning or whatever, because that's just what you do. It's fair. It's fair to them. So my son had to explain to her that he was transitioning, and I told my son not to. I said, just don't, you know, just don't do that. And he was like, well, I really kind of need to. And I was like, yeah, I guess I understand. I just didn't want my son to get hurt, you know, because there's a very cruel world. People are cruel in this world. You know, a lot of people don't accept it. They're still rude. I even see comments on Paul's and Jen's Facebook sometimes where they're just talking so ugly to him, and I'm just like, gosh, people are cruel. And you know, like, we grew up, if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say it at all. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your opinion to yourself. And so he ended up telling her, and you know, we were pretty close. We used to talk a lot. We went to the same school, and she was really young. She was like 18, I think, and when I started, I was 36 years old, 35 maybe at the time, 35 years old. I had told her to never, after my son had told her, you know, what he was doing and what was going on with him, I told her to never say it to anybody, not even a soul, because I said, you can make someone hurt themselves, you can make their life miserable, and you can make it hard for them. I said, so please keep your mouth shut and don't say nothing to no one. But she said, okay, I won't. I never will. Well, she ended up doing it, and she blackmailed my son because my son really didn't like her. They didn't like click, you know. And so she started telling the school, and the school students would look at my son differently, and he knew. He said, I just know, Mom. They know that I am transitioning, or I was a female. So my son quit school and said, I have to leave. I have to go out of town. Well, me, Mama Bear, you know, we're going to support our kids. We're going to fight for our kids, right? Well, it was on. And me, little peleonera, stachiva, I had to. So, okay, everybody's hurt, you know, saying this and that. And I was like, they would say like little comments, and I was like, okay. So then I asked one of my friends, I said, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we heard that your son was a female. And I was like, well, so who told you that? And they really didn't say who, but I had already knew. So I was pissed. I was fuming. And okay, little Janelle, throwing hands all the time. That's what she wanted to do. It was on. 35 years old with this little 18-year-old. I was going to beat her ass. I was going to beat her ass. Because, girl, you don't fuck with my kids. You just, that's one thing you don't do any of your kids. Because Mama Bear's going to come for you. So Mama Bear's going to come for you, right? I was like, I can't believe she said this. And I was mad. So I was trying to avoid her because she would like try to come around me, and I was just trying to ignore her. I would just act like I didn't want to talk to her or anything. And then finally one day I was really pissed, and I said, that's just so messed up that she had to ruin my son's life and ruin my son's talent and something that he was going to do and was good at, because she wanted to ruin his life and blackmail him because he didn't like her. Like, no, you don't do that. So I was so pissed this day, and she ended up coming up to me, and I was like, she better not. Like, she better not come up to me because I'm livid. And so she ended up coming up to me. The instructor was going inside to the room, and or she was walking into the room, but she wasn't there yet. She was walking in front of us, and I was walking with one of my friends, and there was like another girl, and she was like heavy set. She was bigger than me, a bigger girl than me, like bigger. You know, I don't know, chunky, fat, chubby, I don't know, whatever you want to call me. But she was a little bit bigger than me, heavy set than me. And I was fucking pissed. Like, I was gonna beat this girl to a pulp. Like, you do not F with my kids, especially my son, that you're trying to ruin his life like that. No, no, no. I don't care how old you are, girl. If you have that mentality to try to do that to someone, then you're gonna get your ass whooped. Just like Nikki Tutorial said today, like, why would you even want to blackmail someone like that? Why would you be so rude about it and cruel? Just because, you know, keep your mouth shut. When they're ready to come out and talk about it, they will. So she came up to me and she was like, well, what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, you started opening your big mouth, and that girl got like in the middle of us, and I pushed her, and she like flew. And the girl that was, the instructor that was up there was like, Janelle, Janelle. And I was about to punch her, and then I realized that she was an 18-year-old spoiled little rich girl. So I stopped myself from doing that. And because the judge told me, if you're ever in my chamber for fighting, no matter what, you will be in jail for 90 days or more, depending on how I feel or what kind of mood I'm in. So I backed off, and I knew that, you know, she probably would sue me or something. So I backed off, but that little bitch was gonna get her face popped in. And I'm sorry I'm cussing, but this shit doesn't slide with me. Like, oh, you don't do that. You don't ruin someone's life like that because they don't want to be with you. So then there was another person that was going to the school that was transgender too, that would hang out with my son, and they started telling the whole school that I was telling everybody that he was transgender and that he was born female. Why would I do that when I have a son that's transitioning? I would never do that, and that's not my place to do that. That's his place to do that if he wants to share that with anybody. Not my place. And like my son too, like that was his place to tell anybody if he was trans or transitioning or whatever. It wasn't my place to say anything. The only people I ever shared that stuff with was my people that knew me, that knew that I was young, you know, and had her at a young age, and that knew that she was born a female. I would never do that or ruin someone's life like that, because that's just something you don't do, you know. I would never just say that to anybody. And I'm like, I'm the type of person, if I say something, I'm gonna tell you I said it, okay? I'm not afraid. I'm not that kind of fucking pussy ass bitch or chismosa, and then I'm over there chismosaing and I'm not gonna say what I said. No, I'm gonna say what I said. I'm gonna tell you what I be saying or what's coming out of my mouth. So I just was like, whatever. So the whole school started to hate me, okay? I'm an older woman there going to school, and you know how you have to interact with your fellow classmates. You have to do things with them because you're practicing, so you could practice to do it on a client. Well, no one was talking to me. No one really had nothing to do with me. And there's previous things that this little girl was talking crap behind my back, and when I would confront her, she would lie to me and say she wasn't even saying anything. And I was like, if you have something to say or whatever, you want to handle it and take care of it, we can handle it. We could take care of it. I'm not a little kid, you know? And so there was just a lot going on. So I was a beauty school dropout. Beauty school dropout. Na 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 na. So I dropped out of that school, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't continue to come to finish my education here because no one's talking to me no more because they think that I talked about this kid when I didn't. I would never do such a thing. So everybody hated me. The whole school hated me except for the instructors and all that. And so I just dropped out. And I said, bye, peace out. And so then my family members couldn't deal with this either. Like, they were fine with it. They were okay with it until my son ended up going onto the news and was on the news. And once that happened, they started hating him. I mean, hating him and not wanting to have anything to do with him either, and making up lies and acting like he was a disease because he ended up going public with it, which was stupid. And even to this day, they act so dumb. And they're like, oh, I can't have my daughters around you because she's going to be a lesbian like you, or be like you, or want to transition like you. Like, you're so stupid. And if you guys are watching my videos, because you probably are privately, yeah, I'm talking to you. What would you do? Put yourself in my shoes, and think about it. If your son or daughter was transitioning and they were transgender and they wanted to be something that they've always wanted to be, would you love them, or would you hate them, or would you disown them? What would you do? Would you throw your kids to the curb? I don't think you would, but maybe you would, because you are pretty rude and pretty cruel. You talk so much stuff and make up so much lies about me. Maybe you would. I don't know. You have an evil heart like that. Yeah, so they talk this... Oh, I'm not going to share that on this story because that's for another story. Saying that I got raped by 4 guys. You're stupid. To have my daughter? No, sorry. So, okay. Anyways, I dropped out of that school. My son left and came back, and when he came back, he just had a lot of thinking to do, and he said, Mom, I want to transition back. So my son is a female now and transitioned into a female, and now that's my daughter, and you see my daughter in a lot of my videos. And we didn't have this relationship for 4 years, and now it's the best relationship we can ever have. I enjoy our time. I enjoy everything that we're able to do with each other. So yeah, like, we lost a lot of family members that couldn't accept it, but that's your loss, not ours. We don't care. You don't pay our bills. You don't support us. So with that being said, like, there's still cruel people in this world, you know. A lot of people still can't accept it, but my daughter is who she is, no matter what she wants to be. Mama still loves her, no matter what. You know, she's with the woman right now, and they're married, and that's her life, you know. And I'm going to accept my daughter no matter what, and no matter what anybody says or what their opinions are, what they think. They don't know what it is or how it is to have a kid like that, you know. So they don't have not even any right to say I'm so proud of Nikki Tutorials for coming out and coming out with her truth. And I know it's hard because it was probably hard. It was hard for my daughter to come out and talk about it, and still is, you know, but this is who she wants to be, and she wants to try to start another YouTube video again. And my daughter is into music and making beats and stuff and poetry, and she can rap pretty good. And me and her will be doing a song pretty soon, hopefully when she gets the equipment. And I'm looking forward to that because 2020 is just going to be out of this world. That's all I know. Family members couldn't even get and call my son his name. They would always make a mistake, and it used to piss me off so bad. Like, I'm like, no, address him as him. Don't address him as her. Like, I used to get so pissed, and I know that he didn't like it. I know he didn't feel good about it. So it used to just get me so mad. And yeah. So our relationship is wonderful. Like, I love our relationship now, and it took all this and took all what we went through to make me a better mother and make her a better daughter, because like I said, there was a lot of stuff that went on and we didn't talk for 4 years. So now that we do, like, I miss my daughter a lot. I'll text her whenever I need to or whenever I want, and we put each other up. We try to encourage each other. And we like to push each other. My kids were able to accept her as whatever she has wanted to be as well. My daughter also, I dated one of my homegirls when I was separated from my son's dad. So, and then she's seen my sister being transgender, you know, or whatever. I hate saying all those words. Sorry guys, LGBT. And so I love the LBG community. I think they're awesome and what they stand for. I just give Nikki Tutorials all the love and all the hugs that she needs, and Plastic Glow, XO, and whoever, Pablo, Paul, mwah, mwah, you know, don't ever change for anybody. Just be you and who you are. And yes, there's cruel people in this world, but don't ever listen to them. Try to make it go in one ear and out the other, and just know who you stand for and who you are in your heart. So, you know, like I said, my daughter's seen her aunt that was like that, and then seen her mom, you know, date a girl for a while, and then to just be like transitioning herself. Maybe she didn't understand it either, you know, but she knew when we got to start talking again, she knew that her mom loved her no matter what, and her mom was going to do anything she needed to, and she was going to defend her kid no matter what. It is really hard to sometimes for parents to go through such a thing. You know, there is parents that don't matter. It doesn't matter with what your kids are doing or transitioning into. You love them unconditionally, but the way I grew up, I just didn't want my daughter to go through what I seen my sister go through, and being bullied and being treated like that was cruel, and I just didn't want my child to go through that. So I guess that's another reason why I had such a hard time. I just want to tell everybody though, share your story, tell someone about it. I mean, tell your family about it, and be proud of who you are, and always rock whatever you do. Even if you apply makeup and, you know, you can beat your face really awesome, like that kid that does it on Instagram, just do you. Like, Nikki Tutorials has skills. Like, she's badass. I've been watching her since I started watching YouTube in 2014, and I'm like, that chick is badass. Like, she's sick at what she does, you know. She has some skills, and I don't care what she is or what she used to be. That's not who I see Nikki as. I see Nikki Tutorials as Nikki Tutorials, and I'm just glad that she was able to have that courage to come out and tell us, you know, I love you so much, Nikki Tutorials, and love you too, my beautiful daughter. And so yeah, this is our relationship now, but it wasn't like that for a while. And now I love every moment of it. And like I said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. And never forget, guys, te amo muchísimo.